Also getting a chance to watch Jet play for the Orlando Magic, and then hang out with them. It was a beautiful moment for the family because we all haven't been together, in a long time. Months has been like since July, so it was great just to see that. But and then more importantly, it was nice just to have the players to get a chance to get back home and spend some time with their families, to come back refreshed and ready to go for the second half of the season.
You kind of just touched on, I know the season hasn't gone as you guys would have liked to at this point, but do you feel like this holiday break kind of came at a good time for this team to maybe get away and kind of mentally reset?
Well, I don't look at it that way as far as, it was a great time for us to get away. It would have been beautiful just to get away and, before the break because then, the turkey and a lot of the other, good food that comes with Christmas would have, been a more enjoyable taste. But, unfortunately for us, it left a sour taste in our mouth after losing the game to Florida. Um, you had, time over the break to think about it. And I know for me, I thought about it every day, on the hour, every hour, just looking at ways and how we could, of course, you know, get the guys, keep them in a positive mindset, and at the same time, figuring out solutions to get better.
Well, you kind of just touched on with the sour taste. I know you guys would probably prefer to play right away, but having that long layoff, can that be a good thing? Like you said, maybe giving the players more time and the coaches more time to maybe look in the mirror and kind of reflect on what could have been done better.
Well, the break is always, refreshing to, have a time to, spend some time with your families. And when you do have that moment, you kind of get you away from the game of basketball and look at, life in a different lens as far as, what are some of the most important things that, at times we take for granted. What are some of the most important things in life that we have to appreciate more? And I'm always a big, lover and sticker with family. And that's the time where I'm so happy our guys were able to, see their families and then now come back after the break with a reset mindset of now we can get back into some basketball and how and what can we do to to get off to a great start leading into the new year.
Hey, Juwan, you mentioned having a sour taste in your mouth from that loss. Does that give you additional motivation for tomorrow's game and just coming out as strong as you can?
Well, I would say this, anytime that you lose a ball game, you do look forward to the next game and, seeing what, how we, of course, we can rebound from that loss. And yes, it is a factor that, when you play, another game, you're looking at, okay, well, what are some of the mistakes? What are some of the things we can improve on from last game that we do not allow for, this next game to happen? And, it's a blessing to, get a chance to play another game. I wish we could have played, you know, after the Florida game, we could have played the next day, sort of like how it is in the NBA. But, we didn't. But, we got a chance to now, get some guys that are healthy, um, uh, a chance to rest or recover from some of their injuries. And then most importantly, get some guys that, need to get, better and get in the gym to, to get better, get that opportunity to get more work in the gym while they're there.
Coach,
Going on. Oh, go ahead.
McNeese with their 2-point defense looks really good. They allow a lot of threes though. And they mix things up, zone, pressure, that sort of thing. What do you expect from them defensively with Will Wade? Seems like it was similar a couple of years ago when you played LSU where they throw a bunch of different things at you guys, a little more unique.
Yeah, you're right. One of the things that I noticed with McNeese State, they do play a lot of different type of defensive coverages. And, sometimes they will switch ball screens. There are times in a zone where they have a matchup zone where they're just pass guys off and which end up to be switching. Um, there are times when they'll throw a 1-3-1, zone at you. There's also moments, in the game where you're going to see full court pressure, whether it's a 2-2-1 to try to eat up clock, or maybe a 1-2-1-1 diamond press, where they try to, of course, to get you turning the ball over or speed you up. It would be important for us is to take care of the basketball at the same time being patient offensively, where we can try to get some attacking, in the paint with some rim attacks. And then lastly, I will say, at the end of the day, don't try to live by the jump shot. There are going to be moments where we get some open looks, but let's put emphasis, getting finishes at the rim.
When teams play you like that with mixing different things up, and you may have to identify what they're doing, how much more comfortable do you feel this year with Doug as your point guard compared to maybe a year ago when he was thrown into the fire as a freshman?
Well, I still have the utmost confidence in Doug like I had when he first stepped foot on campus when he was a freshman, because the relationship that I have with him from the years past, watching his growth as a player since he was in third grade and seeing where he is now, like this young man has put a lot of work and time into the gym, a lot of time into film room, and then more importantly, allow coaches to develop him and coach him. So I am confident like no other with the ball in his hands that he's going to, of course, get us organized, but at the same time, making the right plays and the right reads that's going to put us in a position to to compete, for 40 minutes.
You mentioned that the break was a good chance for you to see what you have in some of the guys coming back from injury or from the bench. And I was just curious what you've seen from players like Jalen Llewellyn, Yusuf Kayat, and George Washington. Just in if the rotation is going to stick to primarily 7 players, or if some of those guys will see the floor more.
Well, we're going to need those guys, and then we're going to need those guys to help us win ball games. And we're looking forward to, watching, George growth, as far as where he is when he first stepped foot on campus to where he is now has been a big improvement. Jalen's health is always going to be the key. And then when it comes to Yo-Yo, his health as well. Unfortunately, we haven't had a healthy Yo-Yo yet, but we're looking forward to seeing that this next run that we're going to have starting with tomorrow.
Thing on the injury. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Say on the injury front, do you have an update for us on Jace's health status and how has he been progressing? And do you foresee him playing anytime soon?
I don't have an update on his health status. All I can say is Jace is working hard to get healthy and to get out there on the floor. And I will tell you this, for a young man who really bleeds amazing blue, and I know personally because, obviously, the relationship that we have in our background, that, he wants to be out there helping his teammates. And so this is a very challenging moment for him mentally and physically. But he's going to continue to work hard with our trainer, Chris Williams. He's also going to, continue to work hard in the weight room to try to get healthy and stronger. And so we're just looking forward to seeing whenever he is ready health-wise, that he's going to be ready to help us.
Terrace Reed's coming off 3 straight games of double digits. What have you seen in his offensive growth and how he's fitting in the front court with Olivier and Terrence?
Well, I don't focus so much on offense. I look at both sides of the ball when I look, and I identify every player that's on our team. But with Terrace, I see growth just from his freshman year. I see the confidence that, that he's now able to display. He's looking more comfortable out there on the floor. I see that now at times the game is starting to slow down to him, which I expect, being a second-year guy. But overall, how I see how he's been playing from start to finish since the season, he's going to continue to keep getting better and better game by game.
Hey, John, going back to Doug. I know we always talk about the sophomore leap. I guess just when you look at him, what stands out to you in terms of, I guess, how much he's improved, from his freshman year to now as a sophomore?
Well, his leadership, I can identify that as being number one. I also can say number two will be the way how he's able to, make plays for his teammates. His turnovers is not at an all-time high. You expect as a freshman, being the point guard, that's one of the toughest positions to transition to straight out of high school. But Doug, last year, he did a really good job with it. This year, now the game has really slowed down to him where he's able to make reads, where he's not trying to hit the home run play, making a simple play. He feels confident that that simple play will work. His teammates trust him. Obviously the coaching staff is, we all trust him. But you would look at, well, you know what? His points are so high compared to his freshman year. Well, you play with a guy like Hunter and Jet and Kobe, someone has to sacrifice. But now, the offensive load is on in his hands, and he has embraced it, and he's done a very good job with it as well. So his improvement has been great, and I think he has to be considered one of the most improved players in the country.
What are you telling your team since they've come back from break to avoid a letdown against McNeese State before the full conference slate kicks off?
Now, preparation is everything with us. We're going to continue to prepare no matter who, we play against. We don't look at, the name on the jerseys and if the team is in the Power 5 conference or not. We have been there before when we've played teams that are not in the Power 5 conferences, and they have given us trouble. We're not going to take any team lightly.
Does anybody have anything else?
Really quickly, you mentioned George Washington progressing, and since Jalen Llewellyn came back and he's slowly getting a little healthier, we've seen his minutes go down a little bit. So, how do you foresee his role going forward, and how has he been progressing? Also, just trying to get himself on the court in actual game action.
George has been working extremely hard, not just on the court, but also in film sessions, individual film sessions, team film sessions. Ask great questions, come early. Spend a ton of time in a weight room. He's a gym rat when it comes to being on the floor and getting shots up, but he's not a guy that's trying to, of course, improve offensively. He's trying to, of course, do whatever he asks of his role. And his role will be a guy that's going to how he impact the game on both sides of the floor. And with a new style of what's asked of him, and this is going to be different from how it was last year in high school. When you're in high school and you're the number one guy with the number one options, the game, you're confident, like no other, and the basket becomes even larger. When you're now playing with guys that are good at high school just like you, but now you're on a different level, and it's your first year, it takes a little bit of time. And some guys, like you see some freshmen where they get it right away and with their transition. Jet was one of them. And you can remember Kobe, it took him a little bit of time. Caleb Houston was a guy who got it right away as a freshman and transitioned very well. But some guys, their timetable is a little bit later than others, but it doesn't mean they're not going to get it. But like I said earlier, George Washington is a Michigan man, and he's going to help us win ball games throughout the season.
Okay, final call. All right, Coach, we appreciate